Hello and welcome back to the Variant Geek Podcast. My name is Brennan.
And I'm Zach.
And for the first time in 8 months, here we are.
Yeah, it's been a while, but we've been busy.
It's been a hot minute. We've been kind of busy graduating from college.
Yeah, that's some new news.
Starting our new professional careers.
Hopefully.
Or lack thereof. I gotta close the door real quick. The dogs in my neighborhood are going nuts.
But yeah, so today's episode, we're just gonna kind of do we're almost halfway done with 2022, which feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Time's just flowing by, so we'll do the year in review so far, all the good, bad, and the ugly of video games this year.
Yeah, there'll be a few of these too.
Yeah, we'll cover different topics like movies. We might do a full topic just on movies, TV shows, and anime, since Brendan's starting to get into anime a little bit.
Omaira Mushindayu. Am I right?
Oh my god. So, let's see here. Do you want to start this off on a good note, or do you want to start off with some men news?
Well, at first, a moment of silence, because as of recording this, Ray Liotta has unfortunately passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Great actor, great person. I'm gonna miss him.
Mm-hmm.
With that out of the way, oh man, I mean, I guess kind of a positive, kind of a negative, depending on how you look at it. One of the first things we saw this year was the addition of a battle pass in Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh yeah.
In January, which, I mean, it kind of depends on how you look at it. If you like that kind of stuff, the grinding for experience or for rewards, be they mostly, I haven't actually played Deep Rock in a while, so I haven't even looked at the battle pass. It was kind of a turn off of the game for me because I didn't really want to sink money into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people really like it. I know Jason, he likes it, or rather has no opinion of it. So
yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Along with that battle pass, you had really it only had a month last year, but basically the takeoff of Halo Infinite, which has been both good and bad.
Dude, it's been really such a roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, because cheating is just really bad in it, or at least it was. I haven't played a lot of it recently since we graduated.
It's not as bad as someone like Carter would lead you to believe.
Okay.
Where every game if somebody trick shots them, they're automatically cheating.
Yeah. But at the same time, the new game mode that they introduced,
Entrenched is awesome.
Oh, I haven't played that one. You want to talk about that one?
You can go ahead first, because I totally cut you off of the Lone Wolf one.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about what is it just like Last Man Standing, basically?
I don't remember exactly what the name of it was, but yeah.
Came out with Season 2 of Halo, which was long awaited.
And they they improved upon the rewards in the Battle Pass. There's still some tiered issues where instead of at Battle Pass 70 you get this shoulder pad set, you get the left one, and then the next one you get the right one. So it's kind of redundant every now and then, but overall they've improved the aesthetics of the Battle Pass, which I appreciate. But I know what you were about to say, so take it away.
Well, I was really sad that at the beginning, when Halo Infinite launched, they said you'd only have to buy the Battle Pass once.
Yep.
You wouldn't have to buy it ever again. It would just transfer over to the next Battle Pass. And with Master Chief, with the Master Chief collection, you could just change Battle Passes, which you can change Battle Passes in this, but you have to buy the new one. You have to buy each additional new Battle Pass,
it was super misleading. It was really frustrating because, yeah, like you said, they said that was going to happen. And while you can do that now, you got to pay for the pass, and then you get the premium currency to buy the next one. But, people will use that. I used the currency that I got to get something out of the store the other day. And it's like, oh, shoot, now I'm going to have to drop actual money to get the Battle Pass again. Yeah. Which was frustrating when they advertised it was going to be one thing and then it was another. I understand why they're doing it. I mean, it's a free-to-play mode, so they got to make money somehow, especially this is also a positive and negative. Starting negative, where they had really steep prices for a lot of the cosmetics in the store.
Oh yeah.
But they were so sought after because there was really nothing in the realm of customization for a lot of the armor cores. It was really frustrating. It was like, all right, you can either look like Noble Team or you can look like a scrub, pretty much.
Basically.
which was fine. It was fine in its own self, but it was just the fact that most of their customization, like the really, pardon my French, badass customization that they were having was paid. It was paywall protected. So that was really frustrating. But on the flip side, more into this year, they cut prices because it was 900 credits or about $9 exactly for real world currency, and it's a helmet add-on, and a die for my armor, and that's not a whole lot of stuff, but a pack like that would have been $15-20 last year when the game first came out. So that's a big positive. Good power to them on that. I respect it, and it didn't hurt as much for me to click confirm and purchase.
Yeah,
but there's been a lot of good. The entrenched mode, like I was saying, they just dropped. It's a cool take on like a capture defend style. It's 11 points. Every point you capture is 1 point, but you don't have to hold them for an amount of time. It's 3 points per round pop up, and once those 3 are captured, it rotates to the next set of points. It's really quick. The shortest game I've had took like 3 minutes. The longest took like 10, and I really like that. It's a really quick game mode. Hopefully they keep it. But later on, it doesn't just stay in event mode. I'm like they did with Fiesta after that season got done. Now it's just a permanent mode in the game. So hopefully they move towards that. I know a lot of people liked the lone wolf game mode. They liked that a lot. Because everyone was kind of worried. They were like, oh yeah, we're introducing battle royale elements into the game this year. And they're like, oh god, we're going to get Fortnite Halo Edition.
Yeah.
It was actually a really smart way. It was just 12 players, 5 lives a player, and after a certain amount of time, a zone would close in. I actually really liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
It felt good winning it too.
Oh, I bet. And like, the one thing I was really hit or miss on with that was that it really, you got a lot if you just kind of waited and just kind of hid. You could easily finish top 3, top 5 at least, especially with camo. That just made it basically impossible sometimes to see people.
Or the overshield. People will just pull up the overshield and kill 6 people. It was very frustrating. But that is, and then I liked it. It was like so 50-50.
Yeah. And stay tuned at the next episode, or one of the next episodes, when we talk about the Halo TV series.
I don't want to talk about it. It's bad.
It's it's not very good.
They poo-poo farted all over my series, man.
Stay tuned for our full analysis of that.
Yeah.
But going off of that battle pass, jumping on to Apex.
I'm so angry with Apex right now.
Which had 2 seasons come out this year. So you had Mad Maggie's season, which was okay. I don't mind her as a character.
I'm just glad I don't have to hear her say the same 3 voice lines in the game now.
Oh yeah,
as the announcer.
And then this season you have Newcastle, who I haven't been able to play as him because I have no time spent on my Xbox account, because I don't own a PC.
Yeah, we're no longer esports kids, so we can't use the game. It's frustrating,
which sucks.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to touch on this before I forget to. It's really frustrating seeing how, like Halo, for instance. There's so many games that have cross progression when they're cross-platform games. And it's awesome. It's not that hard to institute that. And Apex has been out for what? They just had their 3rd anniversary?
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, they've been out for 3 years, and they have yet to implement cross-play, or cross-save, excuse me. They have cross-platform and cross-play. I can play with Zach on his Xbox from Jason's PC on my brother's Switch, but I can't play between my max level with, a bunch of resources in the game PC account. I'm stuck on my level 40 Xbox account that I played only a few games of when it came out before I got access to the PC. It's really frustrating, man.
Yeah, because we have at least 1,200-1,300 hours.
Oh my gosh, dude, we have
days. Well over
days.
Well over 80,000, if not close to 100,000 legend tokens. So each season we can easily just buy the new legend
and experience the new content. And now it's I'm like, oh, I have Octane and Loba.
Yeah. Which it sucks. And I mean, because really what they would have to do is you just sign in with your Origin account.
That's all it is.
But, oh well, I mean, the new season's kind of fun. It's okay. I mean, we won 2 games straight yesterday, which is kind of cool.
Dunked on by Newcastle's because I can't play as him right now.
Oh yeah, Newcastle Rampart.
Ridiculous combination.
Combo.
And
Uh,
I could imagine them being paired with any other, like Caustic, for instance, just gas the hell out of the walls. Ooh, my goodness.
oh yeah,
Anyway, we don't need to get into gameplay specifics, but so I don't know. I think Apex as an overall right now for me is more of in the, if we're doing good, bad, the ugly, it's more of an ugly right now. It's not full on bad, but there's just a lot of improvements that need to happen.
yeah, I
Um,
would agree.
Thankfully, we aren't dealing with the amount of like cheating that game experienced a little bit towards the middle of last year. They fixed that, especially. Oh, that's something we didn't talk about in Halo. There's no report function in Halo yet.
Oh really? Oh yeah, there's not
It's been
really.
out since November, and there's no report function. It's really frustrating. But anyway,
To
um,
go on to the good, a
I have
great
one
game
more
that
bad
came.
if I could.
Oh, go ahead.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
I was gonna mention that at some point. It was,
Garbage.
I mean, yeah, it
It's
was
nothing to
not very good.
do. Like,
It was not good.
I can understand. It's just like, well, like games like Evolve, Rainbow Six Siege, Deceit. A lot of those games where it's like the same mode over and over, but there's all kinds of competitive aspect. I get that. It's there, or like multiplayer in Gears of War. It's very straightforward. There's not a whole lot to do, but there's a huge competitive esports scene around those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, with this, it's like, oh, there's not really competition. It's just shooting some weird looking aliens that their AI is kind of stupid, and you do the same three objectives every mission.
hmm
I think it was a letdown for me
Yeah.
personally, and it looks ugly. I think the yellow blockiness of all the characters is just ugly. Taking all the operators that look amazing, even just base without having to put any money into Siege. Like, yeah, there's a learning curve, and it's a toxic community, but at least the game looks good and the operators look good, so you can at least have that satisfaction. That's
Yeah.
completely missing to me in Extraction. If someone else likes it, that's all power to you. You know what I mean? Like if that's your jam, dude, rock it. You know what I mean? Some people like
hmm
Rocket League. I'm sorry for them, but they exist.
Yeah. To go on to a really good thing that's happened this year in gaming, a really good game was Pokemon Legends Arceus.
I haven't played it yet.
Arceus.
I'm a bad person.
I got it when it came out because I'm bad like that.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to buy games I'm really looking forward to pretty instantly.
I usually do too, but yeah. No, I got you.
Um, yeah, and so it's a lot of fun. It's an open world. If some of you guys haven't played it yet, open world Pokemon game. You can run around. You don't actually have to worry about like fights. Like if your Pokemon's gonna die, you can literally just run away. You don't have to worry about rolling a dice check to see if you can actually escape the fight or not.
Mm.
Run around. You can hide. You can catch pretty much any There's like 200 something Pokemon I think you can catch in the game.
Yeah.
From, I think a litany of different generations. And then with Pokemon Home, now you can implement Pokemon from Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, from Pokemon Go, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, all into Legends Arceus. Which I thought was really cool. Granted, like some of my higher level Pokemon in Brilliant Diamond, I wasn't able to use right away because
Yeah.
I wasn't high enough. Like I wasn't able to tame that high a level yet. But it's a lot of fun, and I do like. There's 5 different Pokemon you can ride around on, which are new evolutions of previous existing Pokemon. So you have Ursaluna, sorry, who's useful for digging. He tracks different gifts and treasures around the map, and you can use him to find them and then dig them up. Weirdeer, who's an evolution of Stantler, I'm pretty sure, who's just used for faster travel. He runs really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Sneasler, who's an evolution of Sneasel.
What?
I know, right? He can basically climb anything. As long as you're allowed to get on top of what you're climbing, he can climb it.
Okay.
Basculegion, Basculegion. He is how you travel on water. You just ride him around. So there's no like teaching Pokemon TMs. I don't think TMs exist at that point in Pokemon. So TMs aren't a thing. And then the one I haven't unlocked yet, but I will eventually, is Braviary, which is how you just fly around the map. But it's a great game. I've had a lot of fun playing it. I would have played it longer, except the next,
Dude.
phenomenal game that came
So,
out.
okay, can I introduce this?
Go ahead. I have over 108 hours on it already.
So, and that's while you were a full time student while playing like 6 other games and doing esports and doing a musical. So
Yep.
clearly, you dedicated time to that game.
Oh yeah.
So, this next game deserves way more of an introduction than I'm going to be able to give it. But honestly, one of the best gaming experiences I have had in all of my 22 years on this planet. Yes, I know that's not very long, but I've played a lot of video games in that time.
So yeah.
And it's up there with, and if you've listened to any of our other episodes or go back and listen to them and listen to me talk about World of Warcraft, it's up there on par with World of Warcraft in my opinion. And as far as enjoyment for me personally, and Zach, you know what that means.
Yeah.
And that masterpiece of a game that came out February 25th this year was Elden Ring.
And I mean, everybody's talked this game to death. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's played it.
We don't really need
One
to
of
talk as much about it as maybe some of these other titles, but yeah, it very much deserves a lot of the hype it got. I tried so hard not to get hyped because I didn't want it to be, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But let me just say, open world Souls, oh my god. And I really appreciate, there's so many things about that game. It doesn't have to be hard, but you can make it hard if you want to be. And you can go for the get good aspect if you really want to.
Yeah.
But if you also want to, so like we have a buddy from school, Shay, who had never played any of the Souls games. He just saw the promotional material for Elden Ring. He was like, "Oh, that looks fun," and he went and bought it. And it took him about 4 hours to get to the tutorial cave. And it was very clear that Souls styles of game were not going to be for him. He was not having it. He did not enjoy it. Sorry, Shay, but I was there. I get it. But he quickly found a way to surpass a lot of the frustrating elements of the game. He went through, did a bunch of jumping around, and found some spells that were really broken and still are, and a bunch of gear that hypen that up, and really just not. I don't want to say made the game easy mode because when you're playing a caster build, you gotta space yourself to get your casts off, and if they don't hit, sometimes you're straight up screwed. But pretty much easy mode the game, and he loved it. He loved it. And I love that. There's so many different ways you can enjoy this game. There's so many different play styles. There's no one cut dry way to play it. I love it. It's great.
Oh yeah, and like you can play it however you want. There's so much to do. If you're stuck on a boss, you can literally just go to the other side of the map and just do other stuff, do other side quests,
and come back to them later.
And then come back when you're higher level, have better ash summons. I really do like some of it. There's a few that are really broken. They fixed the mimic tier because the mimic tier was like ridiculously broken.
It was easy mode
at launch. Now the most broken one, at least that I have experienced, is Blood Knife Tish.
Yes.
Ridiculously broken because she's constantly dodging. She's really agile, and then she also has the Blood Knife, which launches a wave of blood, and it perma drains health, and then constantly drains that health. And that was the only reason I was able to beat. So that was one of the few reasons I was actually able to beat Melania.
Yeah.
Which, good lord, that boss fight is a nightmare.
I'm admittedly still stuck on it on my mage build. I have yet to beat the game because I've been getting into some other games. I'm like we had said earlier, season 2 of Halo came out, and I've been kind of grinding that. But no, don't get me wrong. I love this game. I still revisit it at least weekly to play around a little bit, even just soul grind. Like it's becoming just a time passing game, like Skyrim was for me.
Yeah, and
which is awesome.
There's so much to do because the map just keeps getting you. You think you explored the entire map, and then boom,
guess
there's
what?
an entire
often, and there's a whole area that's completely hidden.
Yeah, and there's a complete area underneath that you could easily miss, and there's like hundreds of dungeons, like mini dungeons
and mini bosses all over the place.
Yeah, and then side quests lead you to new areas. I had to look up how.
Oh yeah, and PvP.
A lot of people are upset with PvP, but I mean, like I get it, and I don't, because
you kind of get what you're signing up for.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Because like not granted, because this game has become the highest selling game in the past year, having only been out for 3 months.
Yeah.
So since like February last or like May last year, something like that, it's already become the highest selling game, outpacing Call of Duty, which is a huge feat.
Yeah. I mean, when you have an army of 12-year-olds with their mom's credit cards and you're beating them, go you, bro.
And the thing that really made me happy, and I hope a lot of developers follow FromSoft's, because FromSoft has been knocking it out of the park.
And
We've
they're
mentioned it in other
they're
episodes.
very very responsive to player
Oh yeah.
input, and I really appreciate that.
But what they did was they put out a finished game with no battle pass, with no like you need to buy this, with you didn't even really need a huge day
It's the
one
first
patch.
complete game we've gotten in years.
Oh yeah. And then cosmetics, there's no paid cosmetics. I mean,
The
you want
closest
to
thing to a paid cosmetic is if you pre-order the game, you get an emote where you put your arms up in the air. That's the closest thing to any cosmetics they
yeah,
have.
you want to customize what your character looks like, go find the armor or earn the armor beating the
And
bosses.
most armor has at the I almost call them bonfires, the sites of grace. You can customize them and change
Yeah.
their appearances.
And sometimes they change the effects,
Yep.
like the black knife armor. Before you alter it, it um reduces your sound so you don't actually make any sound. It just
Mm-hmm.
gives you that assassin footstep, I think is what it's called, or something like that.
Yeah.
You guys can correct me in the comments. But if you alter it, it changes the look of it, but it removes that effect from it. And then like I know I watched Vat videos kind of on it, and he like touches on how like certain things change or certain effects will change. I mean, it's just there's just so much customization that it's amazing game. We might even have an episode just solely on Elden Ring, the good, the bad, which isn't a lot. There's a lot of
There's
good.
some, but yeah, not a lot. Nothing's perfect, but it's
Yeah.
pretty damn near.
But that I think other than there's like 2 or 3 games coming out in the later half of this year that I don't think they might be able to contend extremely well, but I think they might be able to
But they
put
could
their
put up a
hat.
fight.
I think they'll put their hats in the ring
Yeah.
for game of
So
the year.
to kind of change gears here a little bit, I just want to really quick touch on Total War Warhammer 3.
Okay.
So I've only played about 15 hours of this game total. Thank you, Game Pass Ultimate. But I am impressed with it. You know, a lot of the Total War series, like they're good. I like them, but they're not. To me, there wasn't a huge. There's a lot of replayability, but it was just like I didn't keep coming back to them. You know what I mean? I play through them once or twice and be like, all right, I'm done. But this is like a final culmination of everything that they've been doing for the past however many years they've been doing this Warhammer Total War series, and
Mhm.
I'm very impressed with it. Especially when you look at Dawn of War, which is the Warhammer 40K version, and how in subsequent releases they keep kind of dropping in quality. I don't know if you've seen anything on that or have ever watched anything with it, but it was kind of sad. So seeing this improvement in quality was really awesome. A lot of quality of life improvements. It is a lot. It's a lot to take into someone who maybe sees, oh, that game looks cool and buys it and has never played one. There's a lot to digest, but that's the one thing I really want to talk about that I really appreciate that puts this into the good category for me is the tutorial itself is an entire campaign essentially, and it's playing through several hours as this civilization that's a playable race in the game, or playable army in the game, excuse me, and I really appreciated that because it didn't feel like every other tutorial where you're just point click trying to get through as quick as possible. It mattered because you can continue that story later in the game once you finish the tutorial, and I really really liked that.
Mhm.
So shout out to Total War Warhammer 3 team, y'all did a great job. The expansions, even I mean, gosh, the Ogre Kingdoms and all the other stuff that you can do with it. There's so much to do in that game. You can do campaigns real time that take months to complete. It's really impressive. There's a lot in that game. It doesn't have the edge up above Elden Ring where it had you didn't have to buy DLC. It's a complete game. There's DLC, so a little bit notched down, but that was good. And then really quick, Destiny 2, Witch Queen. I've heard it's really good. but
Yeah, I've heard good
it's
things
just
about it.
it's just a point shoot grab loot simulator. That's not really anything special anymore to me. I didn't even realize they were still making content for the game, honestly,
Oh,
until
yeah, it's
Disney talked about it.
still going strong. I think
Yeah.
it still has a pretty decent community with
Oh, it
it too.
does. It has a huge one still. I mean, Jason is Fupa
Oh yeah.
still active on it. I've heard a lot of good things about it. But yeah, I haven't really played it, so I can't say much on it. But I heard it improved a lot in the game because it was kind of starting to fall off a bit.
I
But
just wanted to mention one more thing on Elden Ring that I don't know if you
yeah,
saw. Elon Musk, who apparently has been playing the game, he tweeted out his build,
mm-hmm.
and dear God, is it awful.
What? What is it?
So first of all, he's a caster. All
Okay,
right. He's
where?
trying to do a casting build. But so he has Lucette's Glintstone staff, which is I think the best staff in the game.
Yes.
He has that up to +8, and then he also, I think, if I'm correct with the image, it's the Sword of Night and Flame, and then the Moonveil Greatsword, or not the Moonveil Katana,
Mm-hmm.
and then he has two Great Shields equipped. I don't know why. Um, he also has the Twin Head um, Mage Hat, and then he has Radon, the rest of Radon's armor.
Mm-hmm.
But his equip load is 67.2 out of 68.8, so he's fat rolling.
Cool.
I hate fat rolling. I know I'm pretty sure like 98% of the FromSoft community hates fat rolling.
Dude, that's not even fat rolling. That's obesity rolling. Like that's morbid obese rolling.
And
He's
it's
right at
just
load.
because, especially when you're trying to play a caster and you're fat rolling,
You
you
gotta
need
be
to be getting
mobile.
away. And then his Ash summons are not very good from what I'm looking at here. He has like and then his talismans are also not very good because they're more for combat builds, like sword, great sword, up close and personal builds. And yeah, his build is just really bad, and he's getting ripped apart for it on Twitter.
Hey man, at least he's playing the game. Like I said, there's no one way to play it. At least he's enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah, well, also going off what you mentioned, Game Pass, that's an
That's
interesting thing that's going on right now.
an
Because a
ugly.
lot of people are talking about Game Pass burnout
Yep.
because Game Pass, granted, Xbox and Phil Spencer promised a lot of first party and a lot of AAA games
It ain't
coming to Game
happening.
Pass this year. And every time they announce what's coming to Game Pass, I'm like, okay, I guess it's just a lot of indie titles, which nothing against them, but
No.
it's not what we were promised. It's not those big, expansive games that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like I know Starfield.
Especially with PlayStation Plus coming out with such a
Oh yeah,
just a knockout lineup, which is to be expected. It's exactly what happened with Game Pass when it was first introduced. So maybe they'll hit their burnout, but it's really not a
yeah.
good time to be having that Game Pass burnout with your biggest competitor going, "Hey, look, we have this too."
Yeah, no, because I mean, when you go to look at PlayStation, granted, from what I've heard, the paying is really weird and kind of bad, actually. Like, you can, like, if you buy a lower tier, you almost, instead of paying like the small money for the upgrade, you actually have to pay for the full tier upgrade,
Ooh.
which I don't think that's a really good idea. Um, but you do get a lot of really good games with it because you get all of the PlayStation exclusives that have come out, like Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, Horizon, Forbidden Dawn, or Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if Forbidden West is on there. It might be on the trials that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
God of War. There's a lot of big hit PlayStation games that you can play on there. Pricing is pretty similar. I think the most expensive tier for PlayStation Plus is a little bit more than Game Pass.
But they have a lot more better big exclusives too.
Oh yeah, and like, because I know Starfield, which is the
Mm-hmm.
next big Bethesda title, is coming exclusively to Xbox, to my understanding. But that got delayed to next year.
I was gonna say that game's gonna come out in like 2029, dude.
Um,
Give me Elder Scrolls 6, please.
let's see here. There's I mean, you have like Scorn. which is a smaller game. It's not a huge AAA game, but that looks like it could be kind of fun. A little horror game. Atomic Hearts
I
is
was gonna
another
say I
smaller
forget
game.
Scorn exists until every now and then it gets brought up. I'm like, oh yeah.
Uh, so I mean, there are some really good games coming out on Game Pass this year. It's just it hasn't happened yet, and we haven't gotten any like big new games
Hmm.
day one that come out on it that people are really, really excited for. And so
Right.
I'm hoping and obviously Games with Gold has been a joke for years.
Yeah.
As sad as it is to say, PlayStation Plus members usually get really good games, and Games with Gold is bad. You don't really get any good games with it anymore. You used to,
You
like
used
years
to. Now
ago.
it's just a bunch of
Like,
older 360 and regular Xbox titles. There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
it. They're great games that, played for a lot of years, but like I don't want it. I don't want
yeah.
to play it
And
again.
like I remember getting like, Assassin's Creed, the first Assassin's Creed on Game Pass, Black Flag on Game Pass,
Yep.
the first Dark Souls.
All the Halo games.
Yeah. And I mean, because the other thing that's really hitting Xbox right now is they turned down a deal with Marvel to make Marvel
Yep.
games. And we all saw how successful Spider-Man was on
Yep.
PlayStation. Very, very successful. Miles Morales, not as successful, but still pretty successful. You have the Wolverine game coming out
Yeah.
in the future that could be really successful, and Xbox turned down to work up. And they also, the thing that makes me the most upset is because KOTOR was an Xbox exclusive,
Yep.
but they turned down the opportunity to make the remake in order to focus on their own IPs and their own first party titles, which Halo's done okay. But other than that,
But what are you
Forza,
doing?
who plays Forza? I mean, like if you play it, good for you. It's a great racing game. It's not my thing, and I know it's not a lot of people's thing. Gears hasn't done anything in a long time.
No.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of big games that are coming out on Xbox's end, and they turned down the opportunity to make KOTOR, which would have made it's going to make a lot of money.
Off of Zach alone.
Yeah, exactly. I will just buy all the copies. I own like 3-4 copies of KOTOR.
Yep.
I own like a physical copy, I own a copy on the PC, and now I own a digital copy on my Xbox because I didn't want to have to wait until I got home before school ended to play it.
And now you thought about buying it on May the 4th on Switch.
I definitely did think about buying it on the Switch. Um, but it's such a great game, and I hope Xbox is really kicking themselves for not buying that deal because it's
Well,
supposed to come out
it's
like
so
early next
silly.
year.
It's like I can understand where they looked at the overall failure that Marvel's Avengers was,
Yeah,
and I could see where they'd be hesitant to be like, yeah, no, I don't want to go through that again because they lose a lot of money on that. But like you just said, you look at Spider-Man and then Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is the same friggin' game essentially, but still
yeah,
sold like crazy and had crazy success and impact on the gaming world. To turn that down, what are you doing, Phil Spencer? What are you doing?
exactly.
Like,
Like I
look at,
just
oh my God, you look at Star Wars, it's like Star Wars often gets seen in such a negative light with its fan base, and that's very fair. I mean, you look
yeah,
at what it did to so many actors and like children actors too, like they were just horrible to them. But at the end of the day, they buy everything,
yeah. They might
myself
complain about it,
included.
but they
I
buy
went
everything.
to, I went and saw episode 7, and I went, wow, this is the worst pile of steaming garbage I've seen in years. But you bet your ass I was in line pre-release to go see Last Jedi, and I was like, wow, that was even worse. But I did it again to go see Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
I still paid for it
exactly.
to see it. Like I was like, these are really bad, but I got to see what happens. And it's the
Yeah,
same
and
thing you
like
see
I'm
with like
still
with Mandalorian, with Boba Fett. You see people constantly just Boba Fett more than Mandalorian just complaining, but they watched every episode. Disney got their stream time.
Oh yeah, and I mean they're selling merchandise pretty well.
Oh yeah, I
I
mean,
mean
geez
Star Wars
Louise,
sells.
you look at
And
my
with
Funko Pop collection of Star Wars alone.
oh yeah, because just Star Wars just sells, and especially with how much people want some of the older games and legends to come into canon,
Yes,
which I'll mention with the when we talk about series
yeah,
and Star Wars Acolyte. because apparently that's going to be doing some interesting things. I don't understand why they turned it down, especially when it was their exclusive, because KOTOR's never been on a PlayStation.
Nope.
It's only been on Xbox, PC, and then Switch until recently. Or until recently, it was on the Switch. But moving on, there's some other meh games that like there are games that I want to play, but I'm not going to pay full price for them. Dying Light 2 is one of those.
Yeah.
I want to play it. Like the parkour. I heard the story's not very good, but the parkour and the action seems like a lot of fun. Like I would pay $35 maybe for it.
I'd pay 30, 35, yeah. And you don't have to play the first game to get into the story. I've seen, which is really that's good on them. That was smart.
Cyberpunk got its next gen upgrade.
I was just about to say it got the next gen upgrade, and they've done a lot of overhaul to that game, and it's actually really enjoyable now. I highly recommend it.
A game I want to play, but I don't want to. I really want to play it on PS5 just because it looks so beautiful on the PS5. Is Horizon Forbidden West. I watched those trailers, especially when it was first announced, and it's so beautiful. But I could play it on my PS4, but it just wouldn't look the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you necessarily, because I know recently they stopped with if you buy the game on PS4, you get a free upgrade.
Yeah, they stopped that. They were losing a lot of money on it. So I can understand it, but that was another thing, just like Halo. It was like, man, why'd you say it and then go back on it?
Babylon's Fall apparently did not do very good.
No.
It's still apparently being supported.
It just released at a bad time, man. Why would you release up against Elden Ring?
Yeah, that was the thing with Horizon. It released like a week, I think, before Elden Ring came out. And from what I've heard, it's a good game. And it's a lot of fun, a lot of great things to do, a good expansion on the story. But it came out like a week before Elden Ring. And so nobody really played it much, or nobody really talked about it, because Elden Ring was the talk of the town.
Talk of the Twitterverse.
One I do really want to play that I've heard really good things about, that does what Elden Ring does, where if you want cosmetics, you earn them, is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Yes, I want to play that, but I don't want to pay full price for another Borderlands looter shooter.
Yeah, I would pay, like Dying Light 2, I would even maybe go 40.
I'd pay 40, $45 for it. I'll get it eventually. I need to.
It looks like a lot of fun.
I need to get a job.
Yeah, move. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast and you work at a company and you want to hire us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're here. We make some quality podcasts, as you hear.
Yeah.
Halo, I just applied to be your social media marketing manager. I said some great things about you guys. And while I said some bad things, at least I'm honest.
Yeah. And Paramount, now.
My resume just went in the trash, bro.
I applied to be your data analyst. Look at your data and help you with some research. You have some great stuff on there. I might have talked some crap on the Halo TV series that you're so proud of, but
that wasn't that.
That's in the past.
I know. I saw. This kind of I'll save it. I'll save it for the other stuff. But really quick, I want to talk about in April we had another groundbreaking release. Obviously not as impactful as Elden Ring. That was crazy, and I don't know if we'll see that for another 10, 15 years, honestly. But as we finally, after years and years of waiting and like pushbacks constantly, Zach was supposed to get this game in 2019. We got Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
That's right. I almost forgot. I don't know why I forgot about that. Like it's a lot of fun. There are things that I don't like about it. Like it makes certain. Because in episode 3, there are spoilers if you haven't played the game. In episode 3, you don't get to do the fight over Coruscant, which I really enjoyed.
I was so pissed off when that happened, by the way.
It feels like they shortened
a lot of the stories.
Things,
and I think
to make you explore more.
That's what I was just about to say. They shortened a lot to encourage exploration. They really are encouraging 100% completion of this game, or as close to as people can manage. Yeah. But it's very clear that this was definitely made for a generation that are very much undiagnosed ADHD and don't take medication and can't focus.
Yeah.
Because of how short everything is. I appreciate it from that because I'm able to play through stuff pretty quick. But at the same time, like Zach just said, I was very ready for the nostalgia to hit. And so, like, yeah, in episode 3, when I, saved the Chancellor, I was ready to play through the level and jump through the elevator shafts and everything, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it kind of just jumped straight to you fighting Count Dooku.
Yeah, it jumped straight to
Which,
that, and then it also jumped to, like, what, Utapau after that, pretty much.
yeah, you didn't really do a whole bunch after that.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, it's beautiful. I've said
It
that
looks
about a lot of
amazing
games, but
Series X.
it looks great.
It
Uh,
looks like it just looks like I'm playing with straight up Legos straight out of my house when I'm playing on my Series X. It's ridiculous.
yeah,
I have a Series X in case you didn't miss that.
yeah. uh, but it's a great game. A lot of fun if you haven't played it. I'd say it's definitely worth the play.
It is.
There's a lot to do in it, so it keeps you doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't expect it to be the complete saga. They made a lot of changes. I liked some of the dialogue. Some of the dialogue is funny.
Yes, it made me actually be able to tolerate the sequel trilogy a little bit. Only in that, though. I'll never watch it again.
I'll be honest, I just started episode 4.
Fair enough.
I still have episodes 5, 6, and the entire sequel trilogy.
Well, you look at all the games that we're talking about that we are playing. They're all so huge.
Another game, a game that I played a demo for that I was kind of excited for, but was a little let down by, was the Final Fantasy Souls-like, which is Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
Yep.
The combat was fun to an extent. There's a decent amount of variation, but the story was really just bland, and it just didn't seem like there was a lot to do. I didn't really care about the characters. They were just kind of thrust on me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they changed things from the demo, if they changed how the game starts, etc. I hope they did. But it was just a meh game at best, at least from the demo I played. Another big game that people that were really excited for. Everybody loved Wii Sports, and so Switch Sports came out. I haven't played it. I would get it if I had people to play it with. It looks like fun. I mean, I love Wii Sports. I'm pretty sure Matt is still in it. It would be a terrible thing if Matt wasn't still in it.
Dude, don't even play the game if he's not in it. It's not even Wii Sports.
But then we also had Sifu, which came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
That people both liked and disliked. It had an interesting thing where every time you die, you get a little bit older, but you become a better martial arts master.
Yep.
So it's an interesting concept. It looked kind of fun. I don't think I would pay for it, but
so I think we're forgetting to mention the most important release of this entire year, the most cultural defining release of all video games of all time, and that's Among Us on next gen consoles.
Shut up.
I
don't really know anybody that still plays Among Us.
My little brother walks around going, "Sus, Among Us, sus," and I'm like, "I'm gonna throw you in a wall, man. I'm just gonna throw you right into a wall." I said it, in a wall. You're not coming out. No, but Evil Dead came out.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I haven't played it. I haven't really seen anything on it, but I've heard good things.
I've only heard from Jason talking about it because one of his brother's buddies plays it, but he says they played Deep Rock with him, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like Deep Rock because there's no competition to it because he's way too competitive, and that's why he likes Evil Dead." And I don't know how I feel about that. I like teamwork when it comes to games like that.
Yeah. But I think that's really. If there are any other games that you guys have played, let us know in the comments.
The Starship Troopers game's supposed to come out June.
Oh yeah. But do you want to talk about some of the games we're looking forward to?
Yes.
Because there's 2 games that, as I mentioned earlier, that could contend with Elden Ring for Game of the Year. And that's God of War Ragnarok.
Yes.
Especially from some of the screenshots we saw. Granted, they came out last year. But the depictions of some of the Norse gods were a lot more accurate than we see in a lot of media today.
Yes.
Thor was a lot fatter.
That's what he's
And he was
supposed to
also
be.
he was also a redhead. He had red hair, red beard, but he
Yep.
looks really cool. Tyr looks really cool. He looks a little small, at least for the trailer, but I'm really excited for that game. It should be a lot of fun. And it's taking on the Norse pantheon this time.
Mm-hmm.
In more. I guess you're fighting more gods than just. I think you only fought like two or three necessarily in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, you fought Thor's kids, but other than that, and then the other one that I'm kind of excited for is Hogwarts Legacy.
Dude, I want to play it. I was hesitant to say the least about being excited for it because, as I've said a few times, I try not to get excited about like games or movies too
Oh
much
yeah.
because I don't want to be let down.
Uh-huh.
But that looks like living out everything that 10-year-old me would have wanted to do, especially when in the trailer, like it was all like it was so fun and cutesy. And then he goes, these studies could lead you down a darker path. And the character model goes, Avada Kedavra. And I was like, ooh, I could raise all of the animals in the wizarding world and kill all the humans. I'm here for it.
Yeah, just basically you're a student in I think it takes place a while before the books.
Yeah, it's
Like 100 or a few
100 years.
years, something like that.
It's 100 or so years because there's some professors that are there. They're younger,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And then there's because I heard that like the Weasley branch, the Weasley family line is going to be there, so there's going to be like some familiar families
names. Yeah,
there. Um,
it'll be
but it
interesting to
looks like a
see.
lot of fun. You play as a student, and you basically just get to do whatever you want in
Well, and
Hogwarts.
it's really interesting because you play through your entire time schooling. So it's going to be really interesting to see, like, is there an end game? Like, you graduate and you become a witch or wizard, or is it like the game ends once you graduate from Hogwarts? You know what I mean? It'll be
Yeah,
really, really interesting to
because
see
I
how we do that, and it'll be interesting to see how time progression happens because they showed in the state of play they showed all four seasons in like the same area and how responsive and reactive all the environments are. It'll be really interesting to see how time flows in that game. I
oh
think.
yeah, I agree. And then another game I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but I know a lot of people are. Is Stalker 2.
I was just about to
And
say Stalker 2 looks interesting.
it was on hiatus because of sadly all the things that are happening in Ukraine.
Oof.
Because the company that makes the game is based out of Ukraine,
Yeah.
but they I think within the past week they announced they're getting back to work on it.
Good for them.
So I might like it. Looks like it could be an interesting game. I never played Stalker, but it could be a fun game. Uh, a game that's not it got I think it got delayed to next year, or it might still be coming out this year. Is that Gotham Knights,
Mm-hmm.
which I heard people were. I watched the trailer. Jason Todd or Red Hood has some weird abilities now that I don't think he has in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like almost a semi worse version of the Batman games, and it's limited
Yeah.
to next gen only, which kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm trying to think of any other.
I got a couple.
Go ahead.
Didn't want to cut you off at all. So I'm really excited for Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Are you?
I want to see how it is. I want to play it. I'm
Because
like we were talking about with like the Star Wars fandom, they'll buy anything. With Lord of the Rings, I'll buy anything.
yeah,
Like I'll
uh,
play every game that comes out at least once. So I'm really excited to see how it plays
mhm.
because I wasn't very impressed when I was they said what the game was, but I'm interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it comes out the day before the series releases.
Yeah, which I'm not. Dude, $100 million an episode essentially, and they spent $15 on the costumes.
Yeah, I mean we'll see how it goes. We'll talk about more about that in our
Yes.
TV episode.
Yeah. The remake slash remaster of Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah, that
I
could
just
be
I just want to play
interesting.
that game again and have it look pretty.
Something I'm actually kind of excited for is Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet.
Yeah. We don't have a release date, do we?
It's coming out
Or
I
is
think
it or is it I was gonna say,
fall or
or is it
holiday
the
season.
I was gonna say, is it the fall or holiday block or
Yeah, I
something?
think it's like November-ish. I think
They've
is their
released so
estimate.
many friggin' Pokemon games in such a short span of
I
time.
know, because you had well, you
You
had
had
Pokemon
Brilliant
Brilliant
Diamond,
Diamond and Shining
Shining
Pearl.
Pearl, and then you had Arceus, and then you
Yeah.
had this, and it's like, oh yeah, slow down. I gotta play them, bro.
And they're all good games.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
the thing. Like,
it's such an easy formula to continue. Like you can't really get it wrong. like,
yeah.
and then the last thing I want to talk about real quick is I'm really excited for Warhammer Dark Tide.
Oh yeah, and that actually is coming to Game Pass.
Yep,
My
I'm excited.
understanding.
I want to play it, man. I've been waiting for it for a while, and I just want to play it.
A game that I'm pretty sure Ubisoft said it. I think it's either coming at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. Is Skull and Bones.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm truly, honestly surprised that we don't have many open world pirate games.
I think it makes sense because it's one of those genres that there's so much off and on with it, and that's myself included. Like I'll be sitting there one day just minding my own business, like you saw with. Unfortunately, yeah, it's unfortunate where the interest spiked from because of the Depp v. Heard trial and that whole calamity that's going on. But we were sitting there watching it one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch the entire Pirates series. And for like 2 weeks, I was just watching a bunch of pirate stuff. I was playing Sid Meier's Pirates, and then it was gone. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm over pirates, and that's a lot of these genres. You know what I mean? Like you think about like the Old West, like that's a genre. Whenever a movie or game comes out with, everyone always flocks to it for a little bit. And obviously, you
yeah,
have Red Dead 2 a few years ago that was so ground defining and just another one of those 10 out of 10, very rare, once in a lifetime games, and nobody's touched the genre since really. And I think that's kind of where it comes from too. And you look at there's not a except for like Black Flag, and I think it only really was as successful as it was because of the IP it was under with Assassin's Creed, because that's another very devout gaming following as well. Other than that, and then like Sea of Thieves because of Game Pass, I think only that's really the only couple in the last like 10 years of pirate games I can really think that came out and were successful.
yeah.
So I
And
think it's
like,
just the hesitation of that.
there's one more game that's coming out. I think it comes out. It should, I think, coincide with the movie release. If I'm not mistaken, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But is the Avatar open world game,
Yeah, I want to be a 6'9" blue man.
which it could be interesting. Granted, I have no interest in the world or the lore from the one movie that we've seen, and there's not really any other lore
You mean
books.
the sequel they've worked on for the last 20 friggin' years? It feels like.
Yeah, hopefully that's good. And then the game that I was really looking forward to this year, that's coming out next year, that I truly think could have 100% competed, if not beaten Elden Ring for Game of the Year, is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah,
They're adding a lot more abilities for you to use. You explore the sky now, big map. Everybody loved Breath of the Wild. It's considered one of the best Legend of Zelda games, if not one of just the best RPGs and just games in general.
I need to beat it. I still haven't.
I've beaten it like twice, I think.
Granted, I didn't get a Switch until a couple years ago.
Yeah, but that's really all we can think of. If there's any other games coming out soon or games we missed touching on that have come out so far, let us know in the comments. We'd
Or
love
if
to
there's
hear from
anything
you.
that we may have breezed over or not talked a whole lot about that anyone would like a whole episode on, our few people that follow us, we appreciate you. We appreciate our little following, and we want to give back to you guys in some fashion. So if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll gladly do an episode on it, man.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
Or
we
one and.
definitely plan on having some guests on here too every
Oh
now and
yeah,
then. Because Jason's just gotten busy. Um, and some other people, are busy, but we'll find times that work, especially with the certain episodes that we'll do.
oh yeah.
So just let us know, keep us posted. But thank you guys for listening.
Fun to
Make
get
sure.
back doing it again.
Oh yeah, 100%. I try. I definitely. I think I pushed a little too hard. To try and get us to do it again, especially during the school year, because it's been a while.
Yeah,
But
almost a year.
I know. But hopefully, we might get back into a regular rhythm of it. Maybe like once every other week or so.
Yeah, and we'll try and do. We're talking right now. Let us know what you think about this in the comments. We're thinking about doing a couple series. like do it certain episodes maybe once a month or something like that that are continuations. For example, like Zach said, I've recently been watching a lot more anime than ever, and just kind of like focusing on anime as an episode and doing that like monthly. Maybe bring some people like Connor back on here. He was on our Dungeons and Dragons episode, yes, one of those ones.
Yep.
Yeah, he's God. That guy is Mr. Anime as well. We're having Davis on here too for anime. Shoot, any of our friends really.
Yeah.
But on specific shows. So yeah, just a lot of cool stuff in the works.
And we also
we're at a point where we can finally like focus on this again. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. We also have some D&D coming your guys' way as well. If you want to tune into our Twitch channels, I'll link those in the description and also be at the end of the video.
Yeah, buddy.
Either Forestall Cash 014 or Shepherd 6. But we're definitely planning on streaming our D&D sessions because I finally found a way to be able to have tabletop online for free.
Yeah, because we don't have any of our homies out here anymore. Well, we're all over the globe right now. None of us.
Yeah.
The closest ones right now are, I guess, like Jason and Davis.
Yeah.
Just because Davis is still in Mitchell, but.
So keep in tune for that. We'll also just probably be streaming every now and then as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah. And hey, if any businesses are listening, hit us up for a sponsorship.
Yeah. I mean, also use Coach VG podcast at checkout. I don't know if it still works. It might.
We'll see if the code still works. Yeah, it's been a hot minute, but it should still. And also for all our listeners that are back in Mitchell, South Dakota, I know they're technically not a sponsor of us, but I'm in a Discord group with all of them. Go check out the folks over at the Guild Hall in downtown Mitchell. If anything geeky is your fancy, they got anything for you down there. 12 out of 10. Love that business. Those guys are really dedicated. They've been working towards this for the last like 20 years in talking to Ben, one of the owners. And yeah, they got something really special going on there. So if you're in the Mitchell area or passing through at any point, go check out the Guild Hall. They got some awesome stuff down there.
Yeah. So hope you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your guys' day.
Yes. Love you. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.